A very good morning, children. Well, in today's class of economic application, we shall take up the fourth factor of production, that is enterprise or organization. Okay. In today's class, we shall discuss about the function of an entrepreneur, or who the entrepreneur is. Okay, the function of entrepreneur, and we will also talk about the different roles and the importance of an entrepreneur in the economic development. Okay, but before that, a better recap on what we did in the last class. Well, in the last class, we were talking about the third factor of production, that is the capital, where we were talking about capital formation. Okay, we also discussed the various causes about the low rate of capital formation in our country and made some suggestions to raise the rate of capital formation in the country. Well, that's what we studied in the last class. Well, today's topic, the fourth factor of production, that is enterprise or an organization. Alright, now before that, first of all, let's try to understand what an entrepreneur is. Okay, so let's get that started. Well, an entrepreneur is a person who takes all kinds of decision related to his business activities. Okay, like what, hiring and purchasing the various factors of production. Okay, whether a labor or a capital, so whether to all this kind of, as I said, hiring or what, purchasing, all this kind of factors of, when I say factors of production here, I mean whether it's a labor or capital. Okay, and not only that, he also bears the risk and the uncertainties that are involved in his in the production rather, or in his business. Okay, so in short, an entrepreneur is a person who takes or who bears all the risk of the business, and not only that, he also takes various kind of decision related to his business activities, whether it's a hiring or purchasing of raw material or anything. Okay, so that's so he is an entrepreneur, that, as I said right now. Now we will see the difference between an entrepreneur or an organizer. Okay, what is the difference between an entrepreneur and an organizer? As I said just now, an entrepreneur is a person who bears what, all the risk and uncertainties involved in his business. Okay, then who is an organizer then? Whereas an organizer, on the other hand, is a person who actually does the work of an organization or an management. Okay, all right, so he is a paid employee rather, so he is paid for his services. Understood? Therefore, an entrepreneur can be an organizer, but an organizer need not be an entrepreneur. Okay, so that's the difference. Here, an entrepreneur bears the risk of all the business, but an organizer, he doesn't have to, he need not, because he is a paid employee, he is paid for his services. Okay, so he may not be involved, he is involved in the management or organizing the business, but he may not bear the risk of the business. Okay, so an entrepreneur can be an organizer, but an organizer need not be a what? An entrepreneur. So this is the difference between an entrepreneur and an organizer. Okay, now let us try to understand the difference between an entrepreneur and a laborer then. Okay, see, an entrepreneur is different from a laborer. Okay, so as I said just now, he is the person who bears the risk of the business and of course all the uncertainties that is related to his business. Okay, whereas laborer on the other hand, they have no concern with the risk. Okay, he is the person who just come there to work, so he is only concerned with his what? With his wages. Okay, that is wages here means what? Money that he get for his work. So he is only concerned with his wages that he gets for the work that he does. Okay, all right. Whereas here the income, if you see entrepreneur, the income of an entrepreneur is not fixed or certain. You understood? They might earn a lot of profit, or they might incur a lot of losses also. So the income of an entrepreneur is not certain here. Whereas what about the wages? The wages of the laborer are almost certain. So the difference between the entrepreneur and the laborer is a vast. Laborer doesn't have to bear the risk of the business. He is only concerned about the wages that he gets for the work he does, whereas the entire risk of the business is taken by the entrepreneur. Okay, so that's the difference between an entrepreneur and the laborer. All right. Now let us see the function of an entrepreneur. Well, the very first function of an entrepreneur is risk bearing. Okay, I've already told you so much about the risk that the entrepreneur has to bear. So if you see here, there is no other factors of production. Among the 4 factors of production that we have been talking about, there is no other factors of production, who bears the risk of the business except the entrepreneur. Okay, all right. When I talk about risk here, now what is risk? What is the risk that I'm talking about here? Here, the risk refers to the uncertainties that is related to the production or to the investment or to the profit that he's going to earn from his business. Okay, so this kind of risk is borne or bared only by the entrepreneurs, no other factors of production. All right. Now, the second function of an entrepreneur is decision-making function. Yes. Now see, one of the most important function of an entrepreneur is that, he has to take several decisions, regarding his business, like what kind of decision, like selections of a commodity, like what commodity is to be produced. And location of the plant. Location of the plant means where to set up your factory or an industry, where to put up. This kind of decision is not taken by any other factor. It is taken by who? By the entrepreneur. Okay. And besides that, what technique of production is to be adopted, whether to adopt a capital intensive method or a labor intensive method, which method of production should be adopted. That decision is taken by the entrepreneur. Okay. And besides that, decision or a selection of designs and the quality of the product. All these things, all these kind of decisions are solely made by who? Is taken by the entrepreneur. So this is the second function of an entrepreneur, that is the decision making function. Okay. Now, the third function is, yes, the coordination and the supervision. Yes, this is very important. An entrepreneur, what he does is that he coordinates and brings all the factors of production together for the production process. Okay, so in this process, what he does is he makes the provision for the labor. Okay, and he makes the provision for the labor from the different places, and after that, what he does, he organizes them. Okay, he organizes the labor and gives each labor the work according to their taste and abilities. You understood? And not only that, he also purchases the various types of tools, machines, equipments, implements, raw materials, etc. that to start up the business. So, all this kind of, to coordinate the different factors of production and to supervise them, this is all done by who? Is done by the entrepreneur. So this is also a very important function of an entrepreneur. Okay, well, the next function is the distribution function. Okay, see, it is the entrepreneur who has to decide the reward that each factor of production gets. Okay, all right. So what does the entrepreneur do? The entrepreneur, distributes the reward according to the contribution that each factor of production makes in the production process. Okay, so it is the duty, or it is the role role of an entrepreneur to make such distribution of reward among the different factors of production, and he makes the distribution according to the various contribution that the various factors of production makes in the process of production. Okay, so this is also an important function of an entrepreneur. Now, another important function is innovative function. Yes, now see. Innovation is a very important function of an entrepreneur. Okay, it is the entrepreneur who may introduce a new product in the market, or he may improve the old product which is already introduced in the market, or he may use the new method of production, or find a new market for his product. You understood? Or he may find, a new or a cheaper source of raw materials. So, in this way, an entrepreneur is also an innovator. So he does all these things, So he can introduce whatever product that he's been producing and selling. He might improve that. quality or the appearance, or he may introduce the new same kind of product in the market, or he may introduce the new innovator or a new technique of production, or he may, he keeps on doing such kind of experiments. Okay, so in a short, entrepreneur is also an innovator. You understood? So these are some of the important function that an entrepreneur performs. Okay, now what we are going to see is that we will see the importance or the role of an entrepreneur in the economic development of the country. What is this contribution in the economic, what is the contribution of an entrepreneur in the economic development of the country? We will discuss those few points here. Okay, now see, first of all is that the entrepreneur, what does an entrepreneur do is, an entrepreneur mobilizes the idle savings of the public by investing them in different businesses or in different industries or factories, by investing them. And when the entrepreneur does that, does that means when he invests such idle savings which has been lying with the public, just like that, he also creates what? Capital. That means capital formation also takes place. Understood? So that is very important for the economic development of the country, isn't it? Capital formation is very important for the economic development of the country. So in this way, entrepreneur plays an important role. Okay, and not only that, an entrepreneur also, helps in generating employment opportunities in the country, thereby helping the country reducing the problem of unemployment. Understood? And not only that, an entrepreneur also helps in removing regional disparities in the country. How? When the entrepreneur sets up industries in the backward areas and all, when the entrepreneurs take up the task of setting up industries in the backward areas and all, in the areas where there are no factories, industries, or there's no such opportunities. So when the entrepreneurs come forward and ventures in such areas, then in one way the entrepreneurs contributes in what? Reducing the regional disparity in the economic development. Okay, and also and besides that, entrepreneurs also helps in raising the economic standard of the people also. In what way? By producing what? Variety of consumers goods, which helps in improving their standard of living. Okay. And yes, and besides that, an entrepreneur also helps helps the nation. In what way? In what way does the entrepreneur helps the nation then? By reducing the dependence of what? Country. By reducing the dependence of the country in the foreign, on the foreign nations. Okay. In what way? By producing those goods, by producing those goods and services for which the country depends upon other country, or by producing those goods and services which the country imports from abroad. So this way, entrepreneur plays a very important role in the economic development of the country also. Okay, now see. Now, what we saw is that we saw so many points here. Now, what we saw is that an entrepreneur is a very important factors of production, isn't it? So, if an entrepreneur is, we saw, of course, an entrepreneur is very important factors of production. But to be a, successful or entrepreneur, or a very, promising entrepreneur, to be a successful or a promising entrepreneur, an entrepreneur has to possess some qualities as well, isn't it? So we're going to see some of the essential qualities that an entrepreneur needs, okay, to be a very successful or a promising entrepreneur. Okay, now first of all is that an entrepreneur should have a complete knowledge about the business that he is doing. Okay, he should be well experienced in the work that he has taken up or the business that he is doing, and have the courage and the ability to bear the risk of the business. Or not only that, an entrepreneur also must have the courage or the ability to tackle to the day-to-day problems that arises in the business. Okay. And yes, an entrepreneur should also possess the quality of leadership. Leadership, because an entrepreneur is supposed to be just like a captain of the ship. He is all in, he's all in all, he's very important person. Okay, so he should have the quality of leadership to lead such to have a command over other factors of production. So he should have the quality of leadership. Okay, all right. So besides that, he should also be capable of taking a quick decision in the business. Okay, and also should have what, the quality of far-sightedness. Okay, then only he can be a very good or a very promising enterpriser. Okay, and not only, he also should be very venturesome. He should always be, he should have the quality of always ready to venture into business, or take the risk in the business, or venture into new task, etc. So this kind of qualities an entrepreneur should have. Okay, this is very essential. Well, in today's class, as we said just now, we just discussed about the fourth factor of production. Okay, and we talked about who an entrepreneur is and how important an entrepreneur is in the economic development of the country, and we also saw the various function and importance of the entrepreneurs and the various qualities that he should possess to have a command in over other factors of production. Okay, with this we stop for today and we end the lesson, that is the factors of production. Kindly stay tuned. In the next class again we will begin the very important topic, that's the market. Till then,